the mask off. I don't need it for this meeting.
Mark, are any commission members at the office?
No commission members are at the office today.
Okay, just curious. I think some of us miss our Trader Joe visits.
Well, and I'm sure some of you missed the donuts also.
I still miss the pineapple that you don't have anymore.
Well, that will certainly be something that we will bring back once we can meet in person. Still waiting for a couple people to have a quorum, and then we can get going.
One thing I miss in retirement that I didn't anticipate is having access to a big commercial printer, scanner, copier.
Well, if you need to print anything related to CDRPC, we can print it for you.
Yeah, no, I'll just use my computer to look at the documents and use the phone to call in. That works.
Okay.
I do just the opposite. I have the agenda and documents on my iPhone perched up here, and I'm on my computer for the Zoom.
You know, it might be my eyesight, but I can't use my phone like that. It's too hard for me to read.
All right. Well, it looks like we have a quorum by one. So we have Bill Bruce, Larry Schillinger, Kristen Swinton, Judy Bressler, Jim Shaughnessy, Mike Stammel, Jackie Stallone, Amy Standert, Craig Warner, David Hogenkamp, and Gary Hughes. So according to my math, that is 11. And our quorum minimum is 11. So we can start the meeting. Mr. Chairman, anytime you're ready.
Okay, let's get this ball rolling here. Again, welcome everybody to the Wednesday, January 20th meeting for CDRPC, the Board of or the Commissioners. Let's see here as far as the agenda goes, and let's hope 2021 is better than 20. That's for sure. As we start the process and start moving through the new year. The first thing we have in the order of business is the elections of officers. I hope everybody had a chance to read through a lot of the information that Mark provided us and the reason why we have to do what we have to do. So I want to proceed with the election for 2021 of officers in accordance to the memo 2027 that Mark put out. Are we good with that? Mark, you want to take it from there?
So I think the procedure with under Robert's rules is to see if there are any nominations from the floor. And if there are, then to take a vote on the slate of officers.
So we do have a slate of officers that we've considered at the last commissioners meeting. Do we want to do them one by one, or you want to, if there's no objections to the board, we'll do them all at the same time?
Yep. The board can elect the slate of officers.
I didn't hear you, Mark.
The board can elect the slate of officers.
Yes. Okay. So
Do the whole slate?
yeah, if we could do the whole slate, I would think we'd move things along a little bit. So Mark, you got the list of I don't see the list of names on here. You got the list of names for each position? Oh, there they
Sure.
are. Okay. Mike Stammel for chairman. First vice chairman would be Greg Warner from Saratoga County. Second vice chair, Joe Landry from Schenectady County. And secretary treasurer, Lawrence Schillinger from Albany County. Is there any objections or any other nominees, I would say? Hearing none, I would ask that we do a roll call vote.
We
You
can
wanna-
just take a motion to elect the slate of officers. I think just one action.
David Hogenkamp, I'll make the motion to move the slate of officers.
I'll
Second.
I'll
second.
second.
Judy Gressler.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, then the motion is now approved. Okay, thank you, everybody. The agenda, let's see, we want to look over any changes in the October 2020 meeting or minutes. Is everybody in favor of that, to accept that if you've looked them over?
So we can simply do, I think if there are no objections from the board, one motion to approve all the consent agenda items.
Oh, you want to do it as a whole? Okay, yeah, I would agree. Okay, is there a motion to accept all agenda items?
Gary Hughes,
I'll
so
move.
moved.
Bill Bruce, second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Mark, David Hogenkamp, I originally abstained because of the Metroplex business. Do you have any thoughts how it should be handled for purposes of the consent agenda? I can have, if we have a vote, I'll just abstain again. That's fine.
Let me see. Let me stop sharing my screen for a second. And see if there's anybody in the waiting room. So the issue with this is that we have, I believe right now, 10 members and our quorum. Oh, we have Jason Kemper joining. Very, very timely. So you can now abstain once Jason joins, David, and we can take this vote.
Wonderful.
And he's just connecting here. With Jason on the line, and Jason, for your benefit, we're voting on the consent agenda. So the record shows that David Hogenkamp is recusing himself from the vote or abstaining from the vote. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda items?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion made, seconded, and approved. Any objections? No objections, so moved.
Excuse me, Mark, Barbara Morrow is on the phone. She said she's trying to get in.
Can you help her with that?
Is she in the waiting room? She said
Oh,
she's in
let
the
me see.
waiting room. Said the meeting host will let you in soon.
I see Ray White.
That was the same issue I had,
Opal is
Mark.
joining. I don't see Barbara in the waiting room.
He doesn't see you in the waiting room.
Maybe she can try to give it. Oh, there she is.
Oh, wait, he found you.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Hello, Barbara.
All right. Barbara recently joined, and Opal Hins from Saratoga County.
Good morning.
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 Morning, Barbara.
Okay, I
Okay,
believe,
so
Mr. Chairman, we're up to agenda item 4.
Agenda item 4, and that is approving the December 16 minutes and notes that have been attached and forwarded. Any questions on those minutes, or if you've looked them over? No questions. I ask for a motion. Is there a motion to accept the minutes for December 16th? December
motion.
21st. I'm sorry. Is that the 21st? No, it's December 16th. Yeah, right. Okay. December 16th. Is there a
So
motion?
moved. So moved, Gary Hughes.
Okay, motion made, seconded.
I'll second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Financial statements, and we'll turn that right over to you, Mark. And you can repeat what you told us the other day.
Okay, financial statements through December 2021. I'm sorry, 2020. We're tracking pretty good. Our performance to budget was 85%. The underperformance to the budget on the expense side and the revenue side is primarily attributable to not spending within 2020 the $100,000 we had budgeted in revenues and expenses for the EDA sub-awards. We anticipate awarding those amounts in 2021. As noted in the balance sheet, we have just over $90,000 in the bank as of December 31st, and total receivables of $313,000. Our receivables at this point are around $340,000. While that $90,000 number is a bit concerning in terms of cash flow, we do anticipate drawing down on some of the accounts receivables from payments that were owed from NYSERDA, which totals over $120,000 from the organizations that we administer, including CDYCI and CSO, and some other payments that were due. So I don't anticipate having any cash flow issues. But are there any questions on the financial statements through December 31st?
Is there any place where you're saving money, Mark, because of COVID and doing everything virtually?
This year we saved money on travel significantly. Staff was not going anywhere. We saved money on not doing in-person events. We did not save any money on rent. Our landlord still charges the full boat for our rent, regardless of whether we were in the building or not. But those are just a couple areas where we saved some money. We also did not bring on an intern for the second half of the year, and saved a little bit of money there.
Has the state said anything to you, Mark, about how long the wait will be? I know that here, a couple of the, some of the accounts due both here in the city and the county of Rensselaer anyway, are being held back even longer than expected. Have you gotten any updates to when you can expect the revenue due?
Well, right now it's been more than a year since we've received payment for our work on the 604B water quality program from the DEC. Martin has recently submitted an inquiry to the DEC asking when we can expect payment for that. And, should the normal channels not work in that regard, I'll follow up with other folks about when we can expect that payment. We're still waiting for payments and contract execution for our $400,000 grant with the Department of State for our administration of the CSO program. And, we've been waiting on that contract since this time last year.
Right.
So once we receive that, we'll be able to reimburse the CSO
program for this weekend.
Yeah. Okay.
The CSO Corporation.
Sunday, if you have it.
So once we receive that, but thankfully the CSO Corporation is paying CDRPC in advance, and then we'll be reimbursed. So that's not really a cash flow issue, but we don't have any real hard and fast guidance on when the payments are going to be released, but we're certainly monitoring the situation and following up on it.
Yeah, well, keep us informed if we all got to put our resources together to reach out to our political contacts to put some pressure on them. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I don't believe we actually took a vote on that one. Just as
No. So we're looking for a vote to accept the financial statements presented to us by Mark on a question.
So moved.
There's a motion made to move. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, motion is approved. All righty, very good. The bank signatories, Mark, where we stand with that?
Each year when we elect a new secretary treasurer, we designate that person as a signatory for CDRPC's bank accounts. Our banks require a resolution of the board to designate the signatories. So they're presented here for your review. It's going to be Larry Schillinger, our new secretary treasurer, myself, and Amy Weinstock, our office manager.
Okay. So is it everything in compliance now, or?
Yes, once we vote to adopt this resolution designating the signatories, we should be good to go.
Okay, very good. Okay. Is there a motion to proceed with the signatures for the bank statements or the banking?
I'll make that motion, Judy Bressler.
Motion
I'll
made by
second, Bill.
Judy and I think seconded by Barbara. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So moved. Liz, we don't go through the meeting this fast when we're sitting around the table. My goodness. Number 7, the EDA subaward for the MOU.
Okay, we're ready to advance 3 more subawards to economic development entities. And again, this is CARES Act money we received. CDRPC allocated $200,000 to the county economic development organizations within our region. 3 new MOUs were presented yesterday for your review and approval. The first one is to the Advanced Albany County Alliance. That's Albany County's relatively new economic development organization. They intend to use half of the funds allocated for organizations in Albany County, so $25,000 to support an amendment or an update to their recently adopted economic development plan for Albany County to take into consideration COVID recovery and resiliency strategies. The other half of Albany County's $50,000 allocation, another $25,000 to be designated to the Community Loan Fund for the Greater Capital Region for their work to administer Albany County's Business Recovery Grant Program. So this essentially pays the Community Loan Fund for their administrative work to administer that program and oversee the awards of those funds on behalf of Albany County. And the third one is for Rensselaer County, and Rensselaer County has identified a variety of strategies, outreach, business support, and data analysis to support recovery and provide business and technical assistance related to the recovery. So we have 3 more. We previously approved the one for Schenectady Metroplex Corporation at our last meeting. We have reapproved in the consent agenda. But any questions on these subawards?
Only question, you want to do a motion to accept all of them?
Is Craig trying to say something? We can't hear you, Craig.
I can't hear him either.
I can't hear him.
He's on mute. Craig, you have to get off mute.
No, he's not. I don't see him on mute.
Oh,
No.
we still can't hear you, Craig. You can type a note in the chat box if we can't hear you as a workaround.
Hey, Mark,
There
Oh, we
we
can
go.
hear
There
you
you
now.
go.
I'll pass on it.
No, we can hear you. You can speak.
Related to, just to let you know, related to Saratoga County, I will be reaching out to the new county administrator.
Hey, Mark.
Yes, Craig.
I can't hear anything now.
We can hear you, Greg. You say something.
He has to turn up his volume.
See, now Mikey jinxed us. He said we were doing things
Mark?
fast, and now we can hear you now.
Put
Can
your
you hear
buds
us,
in,
Craig?
bud. There you go. He's apparently given up on it, so.
Okay. Well, for the benefit of the other members and for Craig when he listens to the recording, I am reaching out to the Saratoga County Administrator, the new Saratoga County Administrator, to get his guidance on next steps for Saratoga County's allocation of the CARES Act funding. So.
Good, good. So is there a motion to accept all approvals for all these EDA and subawards?
So moved, Gary Hughes.
Second.
I'll second. Bruce.
Okay, so moved by Gary Hughes, second by, I think was Greg Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing no objections, the motion is approved. Thank you. Next, we're with the approval for the Head Smart campaign marketing grant.
Sure, this is our Heat Smart campaign that we're administering on behalf of NYSERDA. It's essentially a campaign to promote the adoption and use and installation of ground and air source heat pumps. Now, CERTA asked that we apply for a marketing grant program called the Cooperative Advertising and Training for Clean Energy Partners program. That program will cover 80% of the costs of purchasing additional advertising to promote the Heat Smart campaign. It does require a 20% match. Our 20% match will be covered by the fees that we charge NYSERDA to administer the regular Heat Smart campaign. So the proposal is we'll receive $8,000 to invest in some advertising to promote the Heat Smart campaign, and we'll use our other revenues that we receive from NYSERDA for the administration of the Heat Smart campaign to provide the 20% match. So it's presented here for the board's approval.
Okay, is there a motion to approve or first of all, any further discussion on the Heat Smart campaign marketing? If no further discussion is warranted, then is there a motion to be made?
I'll motion, Bill Bruce.
Motion made, seconded. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. Opposed? Hearing none, motion's approved. Number 9 on the agenda is the 2020 year in review. I must say that was pretty active being a COVID year, and 2020 year in review was very good, Mark. Very good. You want to elaborate on it a little bit more?
Sure, I'll just go through some of the slides here. I know everyone is really interested in seeing a PowerPoint presentation this morning from me, but I'll go through it quickly. 2020 was a hell of a year. I think we all know, different kind of year for us. And I'd just like to, I'm going to recognize individual staff members, but the team really pulled together and rose to the occasion this year under tremendous circumstances, whether the challenges they were experiencing, dealing with the pandemic in family life or otherwise, losing access to sending their kids to school or daycare, and everyone was able to continue to do the good work that we do at CDRPC, and it's tremendously appreciated. One of the things that we did in 2020 was adopt new strategic initiatives for our strategic plan. They're presented here for you. And as we move forward through the next few years, a realignment to these 4 implementation strategies is going to be key. So again, their communications and outreach as a priority, enhancing CDRPC's role in supporting local and regional initiatives, supporting regional growth and development, and sort of a conversation on how we can approach those things, and increasing financial stability. One thing that was not specifically included in our strategic plan, but something that really guided our work in 2020 was adapting to the pandemic. So I just added that there as another bullet. So to adapt to the pandemic, we've gone over this before, but we completed the transition to remote office environment. Staff was able to do that very well. We had invested previously in the technology to enable us to do that. We went from working fully remote and now working on hybrid work schedules. We adopted all the necessary policies to conform with the New York State regulations and executive orders. All the corporate entities board meetings that we hosted this year were done virtually. And there's always a report for that. So I went into Zoom to figure out how many minutes we sat on Zoom meetings this year, staring at our computer screens. Well, it's almost 150,000 minutes that CDRPC staff sat in Zoom meetings. Some days it feels like 150,000 minutes, but it's certainly a lot. 281 meetings, almost 3,000 participants in the meetings that we held since the pandemic began in April. Outreach and training, which is a priority. We quickly pivoted after having to cancel our spring webinar in April, and we were able to provide 22 training webinars for planning and zoning board members. Nearly 1,200 registrations for the webinars that we offered. You can see the breakdown there, and I'd like to recognize Martin Daly for taking the lead on organizing the lion's share of those webinars, and also Kate Maynard and Todd Fabozzi for assisting with getting additional speakers to participate in those training sessions. Again, doing our outreach, sending our email blasts, our newsletters, our data news, really, trying to share the good news and share relevant and meaningful information to stakeholders throughout the region through email. Almost a 30% increase in social media followers this year, and referenced in about 30 articles this year. One of the relatively new programs CDRPC offers is a very meaningful one. I think we're making a large impact in communities across the region and providing direct services on discrete projects for them. And that's our technical assistance program that we do in partnership with CDTC. This year we completed, or in 2020, we completed 4 projects. One for the Clifton Park, an update to their generic environmental impact statement. And I'd like to recognize Todd Fabosi for doing the lion's share of the mapping and analysis, the growth analysis in the Western Clifton Park area, which was tremendously helpful to them. The town of Westerlo in Albany County, doing the existing conditions report for their comprehensive plan. Town of Glenville, assisting with the Route 50 area study, and the town of East Greenbush, assisting with their Gilligan Road pedestrian access and safe routes to school analysis. A tremendous amount of value we're providing to our communities. CDRPC staff time is 75% reimbursable through the CDTC's MPO. A few projects began in 2020. Town of Colony will be looking at EV infrastructure and some new zoning strategies to help them preserve and encourage the use and maintenance of green infrastructure and green spaces as development happens. An interesting project with the City of Troy and the Rensselaer County Sewer District to examine capacity issues as it relates to growth in communities outside or adjacent to the City of Troy that have to tie into their sewer lines in the Villages Boston Spa, assisting them with their comprehensive plan update. Major news in 2020 was the closeout of a very successful $4 million program that we're managing, the Clean Energy Communities Program under Todd's leadership. You can see the statistics there. They speak for themselves in terms of engagement of communities, and in particular, the facilitation of almost $8 million in match-free grant funding for clean energy projects in the territory that we manage. So tremendous work by Todd and the team here at CDRPC and our subcontractors across the regions in the Mohawk Valley, North Country, and Hudson Valley. The other big news is that we were able to secure another 5.5 year grant, the first tranche of which is just about $1.7 million. And we're really looking at, probably a total value of the grant with additional amendments and extensions of about, $5 million over the course of that term. Again, it's the same structure with our subcontractor partners in the different regions. Again, our clean energy community coordinators will be doing a lot of hand-holding and outreach to communities to walk them through the designation process and help them to achieve clean energy community designation, and of course, helping communities to secure that grant funding, which everyone likes so much. Clean heating and cooling, we just took an action to promote more of this program. And I would encourage board members, if you haven't done so already, go to the website heatsmartcapitalregion.com and put in your information if you are at all interested in getting an assessment or a quote for what it could look like for you to transition to an air source or ground source heat pump for one of our affiliated contractors. The statistics are there in terms of the number of leads that we've provided to the contractors and the contract signed. So making good progress in that regard with that program. The CSO Pool Communities Program, just a couple highlights. There were 3 projects completed, and these are, infrastructure projects, again, to reduce the impact of combined sewer overflows going into the Hudson River. We executed a grant that I mentioned before with the Department of State that will pay for our administration of the CSO Corporation, or at least the lion's share of that administration cost over the next 4 years. The post-construction monitoring program was underway in 2020, and that means all the stuff that's been built, the DEC for some reason wants to know if it's working. So they have this requirement for us to monitor those things. The $65 million, either $45 or $65 million Beaver Creek Clean River Project, or Big C, is in the final design stages, and that's the largest project in the 15-year control plan to be located in Lincoln Park that will handle a lot of the stormwater in that system to reduce tremendous of the collective impact of CSO, not just in the city of Albany, but collectively across the partner communities in the CSO organization. And 11 CSO projects remain between now and 2026. Our water quality program, I mentioned we have not been paid for any of this work yet this year. So I can't say it's your tax dollars at work because we haven't received any of your tax dollars for it yet, but it's great work by Martin Daly and Todd Ferbosi to undertake and we were the first regional planning commission to develop and deploy a source water technical assistance program under the new 604B program guidance. So Martin was, really good to get out of the gate, and with Todd's previous experience with water quality planning and mapping, we were able to generate a deliverable for the Water of Elite source water protection plan relatively quickly, and we're working through the phases of communicating with stakeholders to develop, final recommendations for that. And we've also are in the early stages of working on the Tomahawk source water protection plan update. 11 maps have already been created by Todd. Martin's working to convene the stakeholder group to talk about source water protection. Again, protecting our groundwater and surface water reservoirs, aquifers, et cetera, it's really requires a regional approach. Oftentimes municipalities that abut these resources, for example, the Water of Elite Reservoir or the Tomahawk, don't draw their water from those sources. So it's inherently an intermunicipal project, and that's sometimes the challenge, but it's also the opportunity of these source water planning processes. The Juvenile Secure Detention Facility. So we executed new omnibus agreements in early 2020. They were finally executed in January. That changed the structure of how we operated and county's obligations. We just wrapped up a $90,000 bedroom furniture replacement project that had been delayed since March with COVID, but we were able to get it done in October. We had to obviously adapt to the pandemic with an infectious disease action plan, modifying intake procedures. We had to secure various waivers from the state to allow us to commingle populations that aren't normally allowed to be together, and also suspending things like in-person visitation to ensure we are minimizing the risk for the youth and the staff that are in the facility. Back in September, October timeframe, we were recertified as a specialized secure detention facility for another 2 years. And we onboarded a new facility director to replace the facility director that was hired in 2017. So lots of work in that regard. On the economic development front, we all know we received the $400,000 allocation in CARES Act funding. $200,000 of that is going to our partner economic development organizations in our 4 counties, $50,000 allocated to each county. We're working right now to develop a data dashboard with input from those county economic development organizations that will also be available to them once they're done, and enhancing our ability to provide technical support and assistance to these organizations and others as we move through the pandemic recovery. Under Kate's leadership, we were able to provide assistance. And again, one of our big roles with economic development is being a conduit for federal resources and federal money. And this year really told that story. We were able to do some hand holding to help the city of Troy secure a $1 million grant from the Northern Border Regional Commission that will help them do some of the preliminary site work for the redevelopment of Monument Square in downtown Troy. We were a key partner in introducing the chamber to and accessing $8.7 million in EDA funding that came through the CARES Act to expand and recapitalize their existing revolving loan fund and expand its service area from previously just Albany County to cover our 4 counties and an additional 2 counties to the south. So, that was a big win for the Capital District, facilitated by our office. Webinars and trainings. We were one of the first organizations to provide meaningful conversation on the impact of COVID-19. Kate engaged the Rockefeller College and other experts to talk about some of those things. And she was also able to complete 4 economic impact analyses for the area. Josh Tossi, our planner and the person primarily responsible for our data services, has done a great job maintaining our data resources on our website, maintaining the data visualizations in Tableau, and doing all sorts of other things that we're we're getting introduced to and trying to figure out in terms of how to accurately and compellingly track COVID-19 recovery. Again, data services, it seems like 10 years ago, but we launched in February 2020 the Capital Region Indicators website, which includes more than 50 indicators for each county, municipality, and census tract and block group in the entire region, available for the 4-county geography and the 8-county geography. A revamped data news to provide more brief data highlights, which are then aggregated into a data news e-blast periodically. And we also assisted with the yet to be completed 2020 census with census tract delineation, and Todd Fabozzi was able to take a look at those things, and we coordinated with the potentially impacted municipalities. Again, it comes back to the CDRPC team. I will note my horrible Photoshop job. Todd Fabozzi was actually not in the office that day, but he's a critical member of our team. We have not all been together in the same office, sadly, since March. So I hope 2021 allows us to be together again and to see each other in person, and to get back to a more better sense of normalcy. But again, everyone pulled together, everyone rose to the occasion, everyone I think did things that were either out of their comfort zone or not in their job description, or, people were always willing, and the willingness I appreciate the most as the boss, the willingness of staff to do things, to be creative, to be entrepreneurial, and to really be guided and driven by the good work that we do here at CDRPC, and they're the main reasons why we are so successful. So thank you very much to the staff.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Mark or the staff by the commissioners? Mark, I just want to say, I'm 19 going on 20 years now being part of the CDRPC, and what you said earlier about being CDRPC is the leaders in a lot of things that push planning and development along for the whole capital region, if not the country sometimes, I think. And it's kudos to you and your staff for the great job that they've done through these trying times of last year, and will probably continue to do in the future. So I want to say thank you to the staff as a whole as well. Thank you very much. Other than that, other business, what's pending? Anything? No? No parties at anybody's house, mask free or nothing like that? No?
We wouldn't tell you, Mike.
Yeah.
Just looking to get out, guys. Just looking to get out. Okay. Okay, without any other business, I guess the next meeting, the commissioners meeting, will be in March 17th. Any questions on that? Unless you're going to start an early St. Pat's Day or something like that. But are we all good for that?
Green.
No, go ahead. Yes.
I said, everybody wear green.
That's right. Where everybody will wear green. Yeah. We'll make the screen green. There you go. Other than that, if we have no other questions, issues, or concerns, Mark and your team, keep up the good work. I know that all of us tout the accomplishments of CDRPC to our county, other county participants in elected offices, and urge them to use use as much information as you provide in order to do things to benefit each of our communities. Other than that, I look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a motion moved by Gary, seconded.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Be safe out there, everybody. See you soon. Thank you.
True.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.